Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something pretty massive, actually.
Yeah, that Vijay Mallya interview on figuring out almost 4.5 hours.
Exactly. And the reaction. Huge. Over 20 million YouTube views in, what, 4 days?
Incredible reach.
It's really a rare chance to hear directly from him, right? We hear about him all the time, but not from him like this. So, what's our plan here?
Well, look, our mission isn't about saying he's right or wrong. It's about exploring.
Okay.
We need to unpack what he actually said, the story he presented, and then, put it up against the public reactions the expert takes.
Sort of see both sides.
Precisely, because this whole thing, it's fascinating, isn't it? It shows how someone can use these huge platforms to, well, try and control their own narrative, challenge what people have thought for years.
Right, directly to millions. Okay, let's start with his personal story then. He went way back.
Childhood, building the liquor brands, that whole journey.
And then launching Kingfisher Airlines, which is obviously key. Plus buying RCB, the F1 team. Big stuff.
He definitely leaned into that king of good times image he cultivated.
He did, though he also mentioned regrets. Specifically about the airline, which, well, makes sense.
Yeah, and that's classic narrative shaping, isn't it? The rise and fall. He takes pride in the image, admits some mistakes. It's about reclaiming the story, defining his own legacy. It's a complex picture he's painting.
Okay, but let's get to the really controversial bit. The money stuff. This is where it got intense.
For sure.
He was really clear. He personally never borrowed. It was Kingfisher Airlines, the company. He was just the guarantor.
A crucial distinction in his telling.
And then the big one, claiming he repaid or assets covered 14,000 crore against a default of about 6,200 crore. That's way more than the original principal.
That's the number everyone seized on. If true, it completely changes the won't pay back narrative.
He also mentioned making settlement offers, like 4 of them, between 2012 and 2015, that he says the banks just refused.
Right. And by saying the banks refuse settlement, he's sort of shifting the focus, maybe even the blame, in the public eye. It raises questions about that whole process, from his perspective anyway.
Okay, so from the finances to another huge point, leaving India.
Ah, yes, the fleeing question.
He tackled it directly, said he didn't flee, he was just visiting abroad as usual. And then his passport got revoked, so he couldn't come back easily.
He even called himself a big fish being targeted.
Yeah, and he said he'd come back, but only if he gets a fair trial and dignified existence.
And that phrase is interesting. Fair trial and dignified existence. What does that actually entail, you wonder?
It does personalize it, doesn't it? Makes it about due process rather than just, running away.
Exactly. But critics would say it sounds like setting conditions to avoid the current legal situation, the extradition fight, the charges he still faces. It's definitely a calculated way to frame it.
So how did people react to all this? It seems pretty split.
Oh, completely. On one side, you have this massive viral interest. Some comments were like humbled, overwhelmed by his side of the story.
Right. That.
And then you get the opinion pieces calling it basically a spin job. 4+ hours focused on bad luck, an attempt at image laundering. Stark contrast.
It really shows how we consume info now, right? People hear the same story so differently.
Totally. Some connect with the personal angle, feel some empathy maybe. Others see pure reputation management, especially given the ongoing legal issues. Fraud, money laundering charges aren't just opinions.
Let's touch on some of the weirder, more personal bits that caught on.
Yeah, there were a few surprising details.
Like donating gold to temples. His spirituality came up.
And the watch. Everyone was talking about the fancy watch he was wearing, apparently worth 40 lakh.
Oh. And get this, he originally wanted to buy the Mumbai Indians IPL team, not RCB.